Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be making some masks. This is the pattern I had here. This fits really well. It's a mask that actually wrap around your face. I'll be using these satin silk material. They are very light. It's beige, black, it's gold color, and this navy blue. Alright, so you can watch while I show you. These material here, they are so slippery, so whenever you're working with them, always use a pin and pin them down because they'll be moving all over the place. Okay, so with this beige, the individual want the beige mixed with black. So what I'll do, I'll fold this just like I did this one before. And all I do is just place this on top of the black. Alright guys, I'm gonna use this as a lining for my mask, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut out the desired amount and come right back. Alright, so that's that one. Okay, so this is the pattern. It's my large pattern I made. I'm gonna be using this and make the lining for the mask. Alright, so I'll see you when I'm done. Alright guys, I'm back. These are the lining that I cut for all the masks that I need, which are here. Okay, and these are my cotton filter that I'm going to be using in the mask as well. The mask already gonna have 3 layers, but I need extra protection. So this is one filter I have here. I'm gonna cut it in 2. Because basically you just want the filter to be over your mouth and your nose. And as I said, the masks, they are reversible, so you'll have 2 different colors. This is black and blue, so it doesn't really matter where you put the filter, what side the filter goes on, because either way you still have that protection. Okay, so these are the linings here. And you're going to put the filter onto the wrong side, pin them together. This is just a square piece, so obviously it's not going to have the same shape, but you want it to be basically in the position where your nose and mouth is going to be. And you pin them together. You go over to your machine and you stitch them down onto the lining right around here. Alright guys, I'm at the machine, and as I said before, you're going to stitch the filter onto the lining, and you're going to stitch them right here just to hold it down. So this is how the filter is looking in here. So that's just, it doesn't have to be perfect as long as it covers your nose and your mouth, as I said before. Okay, so that bit is done. Next you're going to take 1/2 of your mask, and on the wrong side you're going to place it down and make sure to pin in place, because as you're working with satin or silk, they move around, the fabric move around a lot, so you have to do a lot of pinning. But be careful with the pin, make sure it's a small size pin and not the big ones, because what would happen is that the pins would leave holes in the satin material. So now you're going to go ahead and stitch all the way around. And when you stitch about 1/4 of an inch from the edge. And when you finish, just make sure and check to see that your fabric is still in place and not twist or anything. It shouldn't be twist once you have it pinned correctly. Check again to make sure everything is still in place, and if you're satisfied with that, then you go ahead and take your pins out, and if anything extra is hanging out, you go ahead and you cut those off as well. Okay, so now I am finished stitching my lining and the filter in one side, 1/2 of the mask. So what we're going to do now is on the right sides, you put those together and you pin. And once you're done pinning your pieces together, you stitch all the way around here, 1/2 of an inch. When you're finished, you open your seams. You can press the seams if you like, but you open the seams, you turn it on the right side, and you're going to give a fine top stitch on both sides. It has in 2 layers plus the filter already. So now we're going to move on to the next half of the mask, and you're going to put those right sides together and pin. Okay, if you're satisfied with how this is, you go ahead and you stitch 1/2 an inch all the way around the curve here. Okay, once you're done with that, you're going to open the seams as well. You're going to open the seams and you're going to turn to stitch on the right side and give it 2 fine stitch on both sides. Alright, here it is. I'm done stitching down the front piece with my 2 fine stitch. Alright, so next what I'm going to do is at the sides here, you're going to fold this in half, and you can pin that as well. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I like my mask to fit a certain way, and when I made the pattern, it was trial and error, and I had to make it so that it fits really nice around the face, and this is my best solution. What we're gonna do here is make a dot, a 1/4 of an inch dot, about 2 inches long. You're just making a V shape, a half of a V, just right here. And I'm sure you can see that. Okay, and then you're gonna stitch right here, and you're gonna do that on both sides. You're gonna do that on this side, that side, and on the 2 sides of this one. You can always give it a fine stitch on top. This is what it should look like when you're done. Kind of makes it look a lot neater this way. That's the seam right here on the side, and that's the other one with a fine stitch on top of it. Okay, so we have these ready. Oops. We have these ready. You can go ahead and cut your elastic to go around your ears, and the length that I cut, I just eyeball this because obviously elastic stretch. So the length I cut is 7.5 inches, and that is fine. Okay, you take one half of the mask, and you put this in. You put the elastic 1/2 inch from the top, and you can pin that, and you do the same for the other end. Half an inch from the top, and you pin. Yeah, and then what you're going to do is stitch it down this way. And you stitch down 1/2 inch as well. And this is what it should look like. Yeah. Okay, that bit is done also. Now for the stitching bit. This is a pipe cleaner I discovered because I don't know where to find any fine wires. I've been using pipe cleaners for all my masks. So that's the pipe cleaner here. Let me see if that's it right here. Okay, so I cut about 2 inches, and then obviously because the ends are sharp, what I will do is get one of these round head pliers, one of these, and you just grab the end of it, the end of the pipe cleaner, and you basically roll it over. Then you get another flat head pliers, this flat head one, and you press it in so you don't feel the sharp edge. Yep. So that's basically what you do. You just roll that in, and to keep it nice and flat, and to prevent it from cutting anyone's face. That's the last thing you need. You flatten that down, make sure that you have it nice and flat, and you can actually run your fingers over it to feel See, I'm feeling something here. You gotta make sure that it's nice and flat. Okay, much better. Okay, so we put that aside for the moment. Then you grab your 2/2 of your mask. You grab the 2/2 of your mask, and the seam and the seam here, you're going to put those together, make sure they match, and you're going to pin. Next thing I like to do is go ahead and pin the bottom half as well. Make sure to match the seams, and you pin. Alright, another thing I like to do as well is to measure across about 3 inches. So basically what you're doing is 1.5 inches from the center to one side, and 1.5 inches on the other side. So this is your 2 mark in here. So right from this white line to that white line, between here, it's going to be left open. Okay, so continue to pin your mask all the way around. And make sure to put your elastic, put the elastic inside between the both halves. Okay, once you finish pinning your pieces together, you make sure go around it and make sure that it is laid down flat. So the pin, just make sure once you finish, you check to see everything is nice and nice and flat. All right, and you're gonna go from this end and that end, as we say, we're going to leave in between open. So you're going to start from either end, and you're going to stitch 1/2 inch all the way around until you come to this other end. Make sure to back stitch at both ends. Alright, so I come to the end of my mask, so you can go ahead and take all your pins out. Next thing you're gonna do is right at the ends here, you notch all 4 ends so that when you turn, you'll have a nice clean turn. So you just notch the ends off. Alright, so before we turn that, remember our pipe cleaner, our 2-inch pipe cleaner. I'm going to be putting this is at the top. This is the top here. So I'm going to be putting the pipe cleaner right at the top here. It's basically 1 inch here and 1 inch on that side. So you just put that in right here, just a little bit, just a little way above the stitch, the half-inch stitch, and you're going to use a zigzag stitch to stitch it down. The zigzag stitch is going to go over the pipe cleaner so you can hold it down like that. So this is what your thing should look like. You do the zigzag stitch just to hold down that. Then you're going to turn your mask inside out through the opening that you left at the bottom of the mask that I showed you. Once you're satisfied with how it looks, then you can go ahead and you pin all the way around. Alright, so obviously at the bottom here, you make sure and turn this in the same half an inch, the seams together, and you pin that as well. Okay, I'm satisfied with this. Okay, so from this pin to that pin, I'm going to give it a fine stitch right here. Then I'm going to come up half an inch and continue all the way around and do the same on this side. Alright, I am done with the mask. Yeah, this is perfectly fine. This is where your wire is here. That's at the top. So I'm gonna bend that in. Okay, so this is your mask right here. This is perfectly fine. Alright, so that's what it is here. I'm finished with this mask. I'm gonna go ahead and make the others. And I hope while you're making your mask, you stay safe and enjoy what you're doing. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Click the like button, please, when you watch the video. Don't be afraid to give it a click. It's free. Take care, everyone, and see you next time.